Okay, people, this is the scumbag Seymour, who ACC employs to be a vigilante and a lying, compulsive fucking liar. Now, this is the reason why I was falsely imprisoned. This is the pathetic reason for malicious criminal prosecutions, because he instigated a threat to kill Gerard McGreevy by opening up a conversation when I was instructed by Abacus that I had to contact the ACC. And the opening conversation was, "Are you going to kill Gerard McGreevy? Are you going to kill Gerard McGreevy? Are you going to kill Gerard McGreevy? Are you going to kill Gerard?" Over and over and over. And my response was, "What the fuck are you going on about?" But apparently that was enough to, in the end, I mean, he said the conversation went on for a few minutes, and I wanted to know why my case was taken back under ACC from Abacus, given that the agreement that we had was that ACC would never be involved in the management of my claim ever again. I told them to get my case out of ACC, and that comment was declared criminal blackmail. My emails in relation to the abuse and the violence that he was involved in was declared criminal harassment. Fuck. You know, it's like these people don't need to uphold the law the way it's meant to be upheld. These people only have to lie, deceive, manipulate, and instigate their own threats to kill, which wasn't the first time that ACC pulled this shit. The time before, it backfired on them because I had the tape recording of it. And, you know, you wouldn't have expected that to ever take place again, but it did at the hands of Curatia vigilante Seymour. And he did it on the instructions of Gerard McGreevy himself. There's no other person would instruct him of that unless the police were involved in it, which I have a strong suspicion, and the Crown Law Office and Mike Heron, which I also have a strong suspicion they were involved in it. But I would say the main threat to kill came from Gerard McGreevy himself, because he's a fucking terrorist. And that put me behind bars for 6 weeks and had me sectioned for 15 days and 15 nights. Literally based on fucking hearsay and lies. No following any criteria whatsoever, and this was following the secret meeting held at Parliament with all the top officials in the Crown Law Office, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Health, the Ombudsman's Office. Now, an ombudsman being in a secret meeting of vigilantism. What does that tell you about the corruption and the criminality and the organised criminal behaviours of ACC, Crown and Government? But the point I'm trying to make here in this instance, it's not so much this piece of scumbag. I just want everybody to know who that scumbag is, and never have a conversation with him unless you tape record it. Never ever send him an email, and videotape everything if he's in contact with you at all. He is the scum of the earth. He's the one who puts up videotapes on behalf of ACC saying, "I am so loyal to ACC, blah blah blah." Yeah, he's loyal, alright. He's a fucking corrupt criminal. But the other point I'm trying to make is that these people are entrusted by the New Zealand people to run an organisation where they have to be trusted. And yet they're going out and they're manipulating medical professionals, they're inventing brain injuries, they're inventing mental illnesses, and they're inventing threats to kill. They're having you harassed, criminally harassed, stalked, slandered, labelled, defamed. They're attacking you on every level known to man. And if this was to happen in normal society, you'd be locked up for the rest of your life if you did it to anybody. But these terrorists do it behind their administration and then claim they're running a rehabilitation organisation when all they are is really vigilantes and state terrorists. Now, there's no trust left between me and ACC. Let me say I don't think any of the New Zealand people have any trust in ACC anymore. You know, short-term claimants really don't give a shit because they, you know, they don't make up the bulk of the percentage that is left at the hands of these corrupt criminals to be screwed over and harassed and go through all the shite under the sun. So you're talking anybody whose injuries they fuck up, this is what they do to their lives, because they're terrorists. And they get away with murder. And they're getting paid, I would say, $100,000 plus per year to be a vigilante. Way to go, ACC, eh? Now, the other thing is he should be behind bars because he committed perjury in a court of law. There's no doubt about that. Because his story, from the conversation to his superiors, changed in both instances. So he was committing perjury in a court of law. And he didn't get done for it. Why? Because he's a Crown and government employee. Because he's got no medical background. Because he's an asshole. He's worked his way up from the bottom all the way up to the top of ACC because he literally attacks victims like me in this manner on behalf of the vigilante state terrorists running the organisations and on behalf of Crown and government. You know, he's in the right circle for being a vigilante. He's in the right circle for having his pockets lined left, right and centre. And he actually shouldn't be working for ACC, to be perfectly frank. I don't even know if he's still working for ACC. But he's certainly got a lot of serious questions to answer. And he's got a lot of corruption and criminality to answer for too. At the end of the conversation that we had though, and this is the only reason I forgive him, as not being the sole instigator of it all, he said, "I'm only following instructions." But he still got on the stand and lied. He still went to court on behalf of his vigilante state terrorist friends and lied. And yeah, and he's gotten away with murder. He shouldn't be there. The money that he's earned whilst he's worked for ACC, he's earned it from my case, from the time of my case, that he's been involved in my case. I would class his earnings as that of organised crime. And everything that he has should be confiscated. Just like half of the vigilantes who run the organisation, just like half of the state terrorists who actually are in positions of power, who also are part and parcel of this organised crime industry. And all their assets and all their money that they made when they shouldn't have had a job should be confiscated because they earned it under organised crime. That's the way I look at it. But the part of being entrusted to rehabilitate people and restore people's health and well-being and injuries to the best they can be, this organisation doesn't do that. This organisation carries out abuse, threats, intimidation, violence, kidnapping, extortion, blackmail, theft, robbery, pillaging and plundering, and gets away with it because of vigilantes like Seymour. Because he instigates threats to kill. And then you've got the police helping them, you've got the Crown Law Office helping them, you've got the Ombudsman helping them, you've got the Cabinet Ministers helping them, you've got the Ministry of Justice helping them, you've got the Ministry of Health helping them. Because it's not about what the truth is anymore. It's about what these fuckers can get away with. Because they're terrorists. The New Zealand people seem to have turned a blind eye to this over the years. And these vigilantes get to remain in place and get paid a bloody fortune, while the victims are getting screwed and their lives turned into kidnapped prisoners, hostages and captive, and being defrauded on every level. Being denied rehabilitation plans, being denied rehabilitation, being denied answers to serious questions, being denied justice and accountability, being denied on everything that you do, being denied because their actions are violence, 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 violence. And that's how these violent criminals work. So I have to ask myself, just where do they expect this to end? Because there's no way I'm walking away with nothing. There's no way that they're getting to defraud me of 20, 30, 40, 50% of my income for the rest of my life. There's no way that those who have committed these crimes against me are getting away with it. There's no way I would trust the fucking legal system under its present circumstances, because it's been run by, unfortunately, corrupt criminals who want to cover up the crimes of this case and many other cases that they're involved in. And the government denies people the proper lawful forums for addressing this corruption and this criminality and this organised crime behaviour, because they are terrorists. There's no other way to look at it. They're terrorists. When you bring violence into a victim's life, and then you try and turn yourself into a victim with it, and then you try and turn everybody else into a victim with it, you're a terrorist. That's all you are. And Curatia Seymour is just, I don't know, he's just a small wee tweet on it. But he's made a packet out of it. He's risen to the top because of what he's done in my case, and what he's done in many other cases too. And, you know, he'll do whatever they want him to do, because he's loyal, as he calls it. I'm loyal to ACC, he says. Yeah. Well, I'm loyal to getting justice and accountability. So, I hope you all realise that. And I won't be taking public-private fucking criminal prosecutions at my expense. ACC will be funding it all, as part of my rehabilitation, as part of addressing the post-traumatic stress they've caused me, as part of addressing the threats, the intimidation, the violence, the kidnapping, the extortion, the blackmail, the theft, the robbery, the pillaging, and the plundering that they have carried out in this case, and many other cases. And I'm still calling on the British government, I'm still calling on the Irish government to address the corruption and criminality of this country, because these crimes are being committed against injured people in New Zealand. And these people are turning injured people's lives into kidnapped prisoners, hostages and captives, and holding them criminally to blackmail and to ransom in Mexican standoff and stalemates, while not addressing the injuries they're supposed to be addressing under the laws that they have, because they're fucking terrorists. So the United Nations also needs to do something about this, because this country, while it gives this big appearance about we don't abuse human rights, fuck off, you abuse more human rights than any other country I've ever come across. And I saw something on a magazine there just a week or two ago in relation to New Zealand is the least corrupt country in the world. New Zealand is the biggest corrupt country in the world under ACC. And more crimes are committed under ACC than anywhere else in this country. It's used for hiding crimes. It's used for committing crimes. It's used for getting away with corruption and criminality. But it's all a money-making machine. And it's been run by terrorists. That's where I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm still waiting for ACC to come up with a time and date for this meeting. And you know, I'm sure they'll have all their intimidation and everything else available. So we'll see where we go from there. Oh, my next fuck. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Over and out.